Welcome to every week tutorial from Beauty Slash, and in today's tutorial I'm going to show you how to position your hands when you're doing powder brow procedure. So let's dive in. So first of all, the way how I'm sitting with the client, I'm sitting at the right side. I don't move around, maybe because I'm lazy, but I like to move my client's head actually to one side and towards another rather than me sliding over the client. So first of all, you can imagine that this is already pre-drawn shape. Now our goal is not to mess it up because it could be your mapping shape that you don't want to smudge around. So what I like to do is place my fingers like this and start from the arch and then the upper part so that I first build my outline and then I can shade inside. So I just quickly will show you how I place my fingers. As you can see, I start with the lower outline. I'm just going to quickly show you and speed up the process. Then the same going to be for the upper part, upper outline. You can stretch like this or like this. I prefer this fingers. And then in order to keep going for this shape, I'm going to use a cotton pad just so I don't mess up my gloves. And I'm going to continue doing the outline over here, but placing my fingers now, I'm placing one over here and one over here. So still I have this area of stretching. The less actually your stretching area is, the better. So after I finished outline, I will wipe this all out and I will start to fill in. Now, while I'm filling in inside, I already can place my fingers on the shape because outline is there. But because I don't want to wipe out anything over here, I will still use the cotton. So now your little tiny area, you can stretch the tail really nicely and shade over there. So remember, you have to place the fingers so that you stretch, the smaller the area stretch, the better. And then if you move forward, still I suggest to use cotton so you can firmly put your finger on it and stretch well. I'm actually doing right now very lightly just to show you how I stretch the fingers, rather show you how I do the shading. So I'm a little bit skipping and moving forward too fast, but just to show you how I place my fingers. Now, when it comes to the front, you need to stretch better. So over here, make sure I'm stretching my brow front really nicely, and I'm doing these wide moves as you remember from my previous videos. If you haven't watched this, it should be somewhere over there in the corner. The previous video about how I did brow front, how I am doing brow front. So watch that video. So just to point out the brow front, you need to stretch it better. And now let's talk about how to place your fingers when you do the other side. So for this case, you also don't want to mess up your shape, but you can still actually use the cotton to put on the mapping shape on your pre-draw and it should be fine. So this is what I would do. I would place like this and start again with the outline. If you don't want to do this, you can still place like this, your fingers, and again, start the outline. Once you move to the brow front, again, use the cotton and continue with your, you definitely shouldn't place your finger on the brow front. And then move forward. Now, let's say if you were curious what speed I'm using right now, it's actually 4 volt, but just let you know that different power supplies, different machine will have different speed, even if your number is 4 volt. And to understand better why even having one number 4 volt will be so different on each different power supplies and machines, I suggest to watch another video on the corner. And then after you wipe everything here, you wipe your outline. Now you need to fill in your shading. And the way, again, I'm putting my cotton pad, so I always use this to help me stretch, because again, the smaller, this is the best distance to stretch. And starting from the tail and gradually move forward. Now it's time to use this to move more forward. Now, if you are just a beginner in powder brow, I strongly suggest to buy the mannequin head to practice on it, because it has this nice curve that you can feel the roundness of the client's head. And remember not to do your shading in too fast hand speed. This is another just a comment, because I know everybody's watching my shading right now, and if you see it in the normal speed, you will find out that my shading, my hand speed is not fast. That's what I always suggest to my student, to reduce the hand speed, because the hand speed, if it's too high, you're going to traumatize your client's skin. Now, just to let you know, this is done very fast. I didn't care about the shading too much, just wanted to show you how to place the fingers. But another important thing is, actually, you don't need to really stretch in 3 directions. It's enough for you to stretch in 2 directions for the shading. This pinky will be more for the stability, but these are too important. The reason why I don't want you to stretch in 3 directions is when you stretch using your pinky too much to the right side, sometimes, especially when you're doing the outline can lose its shape. It could be more wavy, and then you by accidentally will end up having this not nice outline. So you always have to keep your shape, your pre-drawn shape, as it is, and don't disturb it by pushing too much with your pinky to any of the left or right side. So then your stretch should be in this direction, following the shape. So that's it for today's tutorial. I will see you next week, and just want to tell you, practice is the key. So make sure you practice daily, or at least as often as you can, maybe 3 times per week. Because for me, I improved so tremendously when I was practicing 3 times or more per week. Again, clients is your show time. It's the time you perform on the stage. But what comes before you step in on the stage, it's these daily exercises, these daily routines that you have to do on latex. See you soon. See you next week.